Welcome to Global Village. We are very honored to have two great mayors of the southeast of Alberta, Mayor Martin Shields from Brooks and Mayor Ted Claston from Medicine Hat. Welcome to Global Village.
Thanks so much, Ahmed.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Ted, both of you, first, congratulations to your winning of being the mayor of this great city. Very honored to have our great mayor back to the seat again, and it's honored to have you back to the seat.
Thank you.
Could you please give us a little bit background of yourself?
I'm a born and raised Hatter. I'm 45 years old. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Nita. I have two boys. They're 13 and 11 years old, both born here as well in Medicine Hat and going to school here. I went to university in Calgary. I have an undergraduate degree in biology of all things and a minor in economics.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a quick background.
There you go. And where do you get this political connection then?
So I was raised, we talked, my dad was a family physician in town, and around the dinner table we used to talk politics, but we didn't like politicians. My father had a great hate of politicians, but a love of politics. So we always discuss it, usually federal, not so much municipal politics. So my father passed away about 12 years ago, and if I'd ever told him I was going to become a politician, he would have said, "Why do you want to do that?"
Yeah.
And that meant you don't want to do that. I think, Mayor Shields may echo this, but I think a lot of people get into politics usually out of a sense of, sometimes it's an anger, believe it or not, or a sense that I got into it because I thought I couldn't possibly be worse than what was there. I shouldn't, and that is kind of politically charged. But what happened, my family had some very, very bad run-ins with the City Council of 2001, 2007, illegally closing down my brother's business, costing my family $2 million. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to run for politics and make sure that what happened to him never ever happens to anybody else. And so yeah, and since I've been on council, I'm not taking all the credit, but nothing like that has ever happened again. So
well, that's at least a good motto, and that's a very good way of doing something great for other people not to happen.
Yeah.
Mayor Martin Shields, and
Background?
as always, and we know your background, but maybe some other our viewers might not know.
Well, I've been in Brooks since 1976, and so as many people in Brooks, we've come from somewhere else. It's a community that is got a tremendous different kind of culture in it because a lot of people have come to Brooks from some other community. So we have the logo for a community. It's, as you well know, the City of 100 Hellos, the documentary that was made. We know that a lot of time people's hearts are from somewhere else, but they've adopted the City of Brooks as their home. So it's a community that I value and believe in. It's a great place to be. So I was an educator for many years, and when I retired from that, I then ran for council in our community from the point of view of believing that I valued it and wanted to contribute if people thought that I could contribute to it. And I've been fortunate to be chosen in an election process to be in that position, and I'm very humbled that people think that I can do that, and I think it's a great community and feel very positive about things that we have there.
Hey, what do you think the good events that we had that you can remember 2013 in our area?
Well, there's a lot of events. I think we both, the mayor here has a great hockey team in Medicine Hat, the Medicine Hat Tigers. It's supported very well by the community, and we have also more recently a team in our community, and it started about a dozen years ago, but they were able to win the national championship in this past year, and that's a phenomenal achievement for an area to be able to people go and see those playoff games and appreciate the type of contribution that has in their community. There was another event. There's the down things that obviously happened in the province, in our areas, But we'd had an event that we'd talked about when JBS went through the situation of closing down a plant, and we talked about celebrating beef in Alberta and celebrating it in our community. So it was a first-time event that we did. Included all of the beef producers. There's a very myriad of different pieces of the cattle industry. And along with JBS and the community, we celebrated beef. And so we had a lot of community support for that event, tremendous turnout, and we had a great beef dinner barbecue. It was the first time we've done, and the beef industry were really so positive about it afterwards because they said nobody really does this recognition of our industry in the province. And we wanted to do it in recognition of what occurred because of the lakeside closure. That went back way into the beef industry. It wasn't just the plant workers that were out of work. That had a ripple effect huge back into all sectors of the beef industry. So that was an event that we hadn't done before, which was a very positive event in our community.
Thank you very much, Mayor Martin Shields. How about you, Mr. Mayor?
So events of 2013.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure everybody's aware that we had the largest amount of water ever come through this city. We were bracing for, I think it was a 62 to 6,300 cubic meters per second of water. It ended up being slightly less than that, but it was still a record event. Our community pulled together, I would say like no other. We had a little bit more notice than some of the other communities. We had a 48-hour window to prepare. However, we had been through this type of event quite a few times in the last 20 years, and so we had learned quite a bit from the previous events. But I'm just so proud of this community. I wasn't mayor at the time, but with the way they came together, we are turning away volunteers all the time. The way the businesses stepped up with food, sandwiches, Costco, different businesses would just show up at various sandbagging events with food and more than even the volunteers could possibly eat. When this is all over, I'm so proud of this community because not only did we get through this event, and on a per capita basis, it was way worse than what Calgary experienced. When you count how many people are evacuated, 10,000 people, citizens were evacuated from their homes. To put that in perspective, that would be equivalent of Calgary having 200,000 people evacuated. Yeah. And not only did we survive this event, we are now being held up as the model in the province of how to prepare for an event like this. And so we are now, even at this stage, already received money from the province to start building dikes and berms, and we will start construction in the spring here, and we hope to get it completed over the next 2.5, 3 years and basically protect this city so that this type of event never ever happens again. So that would be the big thing in 13. And some of the positives, you're talking about some of the festivals as well, and we've always been supported. We have our Spectrum Festival, which went off beautifully. It's a celebration of our sunshine. As many people know, we're the sunniest city in Canada, although you're probably pretty close. And as well, we have our Jazz Fest festival, which is fantastic. It's comparable. I mean, most communities have lost their jazz festivals, but we still have one of the big name artists coming here, and it will be even bigger and better next year. So a lot went on in 13.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Mayor, why would someone move to Brooks from different area, in your own opinion, as a mayor of great city?
Well, I think one of the things that we share here in the Southeast, and it's not just Brooks, but it's the quality of life. Mm-hmm. There's what they refer to as the Highway 2 corridor. That's Edmonton, Calgary, Red Deer, Lethbridge. That seems to be a lot of focus of growth and development. But what we would suggest in Brooks, and I'd say the Southeast as well, is the quality of life. There's a lot of things, of the grassland prairies to the Cypress Hills, the transportation corridors, the dinosaur parks, the things that we have in this region that leads to a quality of life. We work together with a health region, for example, in this area. There's a number of things that we have in common with this area that when we talk about quality of life and the reasons to move to our communities, there are really advantages of health, advantages in education with the college system in Brooks Medicine Hat. It's the same college system. We have a tremendous number of resources, and it leads to quality of life. Very few minutes to get to work. Great things for recreation. The shopping resources and businesses that are in our communities. We share the same agricultural base. the same resource base, so we have a lot in common, and it is a really quality of life that is in this part of Alberta that we really promote. And I think it's an excellent place to live and raise a family.
Thank you very much. So is that mean is in down the road maybe some sort of southeast of Alberta economic integration? Something that might
yeah,
be.
and we do have, I mean, we have some regional tourism stuff. We have the Canadian Badlands as well that we promote ourselves, and our Palliser Economic Partnership as well that supports both of our regions. So there are quite a bit of synergies between our two cities. I would say that probably a fair amount now of your residents come to our community to shop, perhaps, which probably is not, maybe doesn't make him as happy, but helps us out. But we do share a lot. I mean, we're only 100 kilometers apart. A lot of the things. I mean, I can echo just about everything you said about quality of life. Medicine Hat would stand out if I try to say something. Maybe that some of the things that we have. I always talk about per capita. I'm very, very proud of Medicine Hat, of our facilities for culture and recreation. On a per capita basis, we always finish in the top 1, 2, or 3 for pool. I like to call it anything that starts with a P. For pools, parks, playgrounds, paths, those kind of things. We would have the most per capita of any other community in Alberta, or the top 3 types of those things. So I'm very proud of that. When it comes to our culture, we have our Esplanade, which is a world-class theater with sound system and production, and I'm sure a lot of your residents have used our Esplanade as well. Big name acts, and some people we had Slash here, we've had Snoop Dogg, we've had Nelly Furtado, and you can have an intimate almost experience in a theater of 700 people, and Slash, one of the greatest guitar players in the world, is only 5 feet away from you, where you'd have to go in Calgary, you'd have to be sitting up in the stands to see something like that. Wow. So I'm very proud of that. It's not cheap to have those type of facilities. They do not cost recover in any way, but we're proud of that, and we're proud because of some of the things like our natural resources. We and the city owns lots of natural resources. We were able to provide this quality of life because of we are municipally owned utilities.
Oh, okay, I see. So how are you going to attract more investors to Medicine Hat? So
presently there's almost 2 schools of thought on new investment. Should you subsidize it, free property taxes, or free water, electricity, gas, and City Medicine has a unique position to perhaps do some of those things. And then there's another school of thought about just providing the environment. Providing an environment that is the best possible environment in Canada and for Medicine Hat in Alberta for businesses to start up, and that would be keeping utilities and taxes low. So I'm kind of the environment philosophy. Make it the best possible, get out of business's way, and make it as easy as possible to do business, and don't burden them with excess taxes or high-priced utilities, and business should flourish under that. However, having said that, we are looking at the largest private capital investment in the history of Medicine Hat in the next perhaps few months, and we have a Methanex plant, and you may be aware of it, produces methanol. We lost that plant when the price of gas went to $8 and $12 a gigajoule. They couldn't afford to turn the CH4 into methanol. They came back a couple of years ago because of the low price of natural gas. A lot of people in Alberta are complaining about how terrible it is about the low price of natural gas, but there is a silver lining to that, and that is a low price of natural gas, especially if you burn it for industrial uses. So we are working on an expansion with Methanex as well, and it's very, very large, 1,000 jobs for 2 years in construction, and then some permanent jobs. Wow. And so back to what would I do about that, we are working on, I don't like to call it an incentive, I like to call it a win-win program, whereby Medicine Hat is in this unique position where we do own the utilities, and so I can work out some sort of utility arrangement with them to possibly entice them to locate that plant here.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's part of attracting investors to the Medicine Hat area, which is good, as Mayor Martin Shields was mentioning, southeast of Alberta, because it's win-win situation for
this plant would go ahead will benefit Brooks. I mean, a lot of the construction and the vessels and the pipe fitters and everything, they'll be spill off for the entire province.
Okay, coming back to Mr. Shields, we have a flu season, which is a very, as you are very aware of. I believe I was just talking to Mayor Ted. Already 10 people died so far in Alberta. Now, you're also part of the Alberta, I believe, Health Association, southeast of Alberta.
Right.
How do you think, what mechanism, for example, in Brooks or County of Newell we have in terms of encouraging people to get flu shots? Because some of them refuse to take it. You can't force them, and that's the problem. So we have 20% so far, that's according to the CBC, 20% of Albertans have the flu shots. Most of the people say no. So what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, it's tragic that people die as a result of a flu epidemic, and that's tragic. But there's also a lot more loss of work time, family distress through it, where it's available free. It's something that people say, well, I still get flu if I get a shot. Well, they try to build vaccines to get most of the flus that they can predict. So it is a proactive measure you can take. And I think that it is a sad commentary when people saying, you know, I don't want to take it because it's my right. But it affects the health of our communities. And it spreads more when fewer people have had the vaccine shots. So it does affect the community health. And that's where I come from, in the sense when there's things that are available that can help protect our community health and it's free, it's very discouraging when you hear those numbers of 20%, or if you hear that health workers are not taking advantage of it. Those people who work with, and we need them critically in our health system, that they could be affected by this if they're not taking it. So I think in our society, we've gotten too complacent about public health. And this is a critical piece for keeping our communities healthy and viable. So I really encourage people, I tweet, I say, whatever, get your flu shots. I know it's not mandatory, but please, for community health, it's an important aspect that we need to protect and take those shots.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Ted?
Everything Mayor Shields said as well. I was just reading this morning, though, I think there's already a shortage of the inhalable one for the children under 9 or something like that. So there is a shortage, and interesting. Yeah, the internet is a wonderful thing, and I mean, we're all using the internet every day and for gathering information, but the amount of misinformation, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
When you have peer-reviewed stuff, I mean, I come from a biological background. When you have peer-reviewed reports for years and years proving that vaccinations work and are safe, that all this misinformation is still spread. I don't know why people do that. It's frustrating, but. And the interesting thing about H1N1 is it attacks. Well, a lot of people say, "Well, I don't need the flu shot because I'm healthy." H1N1 attacks is hardest on the healthy. That age group, that 20. With the stronger your immune system is, the more likely the reaction will be, and you could be mortality increases. The stronger your immune system is. So that's the great irony of H1N1. So we try to encourage people, and City Hall, we try to encourage our employees to do it.
So education is the basic thing. To
education, of course, yeah. But I mean, unfortunately, when you're trying to educate, and then the internet is full of garbage, frankly.
Yeah, no, that is the. I was talking to a friend of mine who happened to be mainstream, and he says he never took any flu shot, and he's healthy. And I'm asking, so why don't you do it? No. So with no reason. So he read it from the internet. And he sees too much negativity of taking this. And I said, do you have any proof? No. So it's very difficult when people.
Yeah. Try being in politics and dealing with the internet and the anonymity of the internet.
What do you think the diverse population, such as the one you have in Medicine Hat, the one you have Medicine Hat compared to Brooks County of Newell is
Brooks is the leader. I mean, 100 hellos.
100 hellos, yeah.
And you know, in some ways, Medicine Hat is the opposite for diversity. You know, and that's unfortunate. You know, the more diverse your population is, the more you get used to diversity, and each culture brings so much to your community. Yeah. My wife's from Denmark, obviously not a visible minority, but the amount of the traditions that she brings from her home country, the culture, their way of life. It just enhances our entire community. And so the more people you have from around the world, the more diversity, the more traditions they bring. It's fantastic. And but I mean, sitting next to me is probably the expert on this.
But is it because people are not moving into Medicine Hat from the minority, visible minority, or because of the it's difficult to live in Medicine Hat?
It could be partially our own problem. Medicine Hat has been a little stagnant in growth because we are so heavily dependent on just natural gas, not oil.
Okay.
And so we haven't had the population increase. And the problem, I think, when you're attracting immigrants is the immigrants attract immigrants.
Yeah,
Communities form, especially in large cities. You can find people from your home country, and perhaps Medicine Hat has lagged behind that, and so it may be more difficult to integrate into Medicine Hat for newcomers. But you know, the work ethic of our immigrants is second to none, and there are jobs here. And so perhaps we as a community need to do more to make them feel welcome, and we could probably learn something from our neighbor.
There you go, Mr. Martin.
Well, thank you for those comments. I think one of the things that we both have, as you said, there are jobs, and attracting people to our communities and feeling welcome isn't a crucial piece, because the service industry, I know, is suffering in the Southeast. It's just hard to find people to work in the service industry, and that then, you know, dominoes into other things. People say, we're not getting what we want here, we need to be somewhere else. So I think it is a challenge in the sense of getting people into our communities to work and fill those positions that are there. However we can do that, whether it's temporary foreign workers, immigration, whatever the process is, I think we understand that we need those people in our communities. You're facing, if you're building a plant, to attract the trades and those people to it. The industries that we have, the trades are short in our area, and that isn't going away, and we need to work with our educational institutions, lobby at the different levels of government to work to try to find ways to bring those people to our community, because we need them.
No, thanks, Mr. Shields. And I think, Mayor Ted, I think you said very good point, which is the immigrants go where immigrants are. One of the foundation of Global Village was to attract people to our area, whether it's Medicine Hat or Brooks, mainly Brooks, because that's where we locate. But I think for people now watching this program, listening from you, I might encourage also to consider coming from other places, whether it's other provinces, and seeing Medicine Hat, especially when you have a job opening in the near future. And that reminds me, Mayor Martin Shields has been dealing with this issue for a long time now. I think this is his third term, or fourth?
Third.
Okay, I thought it was fourth.
Well, I was on council for one term before mayor.
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Sure.
You're making me longer at it than I am.
No, that's good. Yeah, because you're doing a great job, and that's very honored to have. The growth and economic growth, diversity also is part of it, and participation of everybody, inclusion, which that's what Brooks does at all times. Is what do you think the Medicine Hat can learn from Brooks in terms of that diversity?
Well, you know, every community has their unique aspects to it. And I think that the strengths that you were mentioning about your community, I mean, you're the envy of the province municipality with your resource base and ownership of utilities, which allows economically them to do different things.
Yeah.
So I think that when the people come to the community, Brooks is different in a sense because of the numbers, the preponderance and the change makes it so unique because of the numbers.
Small.
We know there's a lot of people who have connections to Medicine Hat from our ethnic communities. There's families that have moved here, connections from it. They're not necessarily as visible here, but I think they're starting to make a change in the community because we hear about it. We hear about the connections with Medicine Hat. So we know that that's beginning to grow in Medicine Hat, and I think you probably in the last 3 years have noticed it well.
Yeah.
So I think the opportunities to become part of the community is going to start to grow, and it's going to be a natural growth. And I think the community knows that it is changing. The growth factors you mentioned, the population hasn't increased, but it will. And when that begins to happen, they will see that face in the community, and they know it's needed when those changes come, when there's jobs, and there's going to be a change, and it will happen because the people will feel comfortable more so because many have come through Brooks, have been here, have adjusted to, and so they've been culturalized to a certain point of Canadianized and some of the things. So as they moved into Medicine Hat, maybe it's for housing, maybe it's for job opportunities, maybe it's for education, they will have had some of that background, and being part of the community will be an easier fit.
But when we talk about diversity, because I think he just mentioned, Mayor Ted, that his wife is from Denmark. So your house is already diverse because you have a different people from different nations. But usually when we say diverse, we talk about a color issue or religion.
Visible, right?
Visible minorities. But when you look from the diversity way, it could be from European diversity, from different nations of Europe. Europe is not the same. Eastern Europe have different culture than the Western Europe, vice versa, everywhere. So it's good to see now two mayors from background for Scotland. It is. But yeah. So visible minorities, as you just rightly said, that's what we're talking, and that's what probably attracts people is when they see their own, then that attracts them. They will probably say, a bunch of group of mine are there in Calgary or Medicine Hat or Brooks, then I have to go. So it is an important factor, but you are on the right track, and we hope one day that Medicine Hat becomes same as Brooks. Brooks has a very small population as compared to Medicine Hat too, so that could be also a factor.
Yeah,
we have about 13,000.
But you make a good point on that. We had started something here the second year we did a Taste of Nations, and one of the things that we found was the ethnic visible groups were coming out to provide food to sell at our Taste of Nations. What we now have an awareness is that when people are like from Denmark, where they didn't feel that this was part of their event, but now they've begun to understand we should be there.
Yeah.
The Scandinavian, the whatever. This is Taste of Nations should be a broader aspect in our community. So now that is as we're going to run it the 30 year coming up, that we're now having those groups saying, this is part of us, and we should be part of this. Taste of Nations is not just the visible minorities.
No.
So that's a change that's coming. It was very successful as it was in the second year, but it was all visible minorities that were bringing their ethnicity to it. Now we have, I think the understanding is it's not just about visible minorities working together.
When we started first early stage on Global Village, I remember a friend of mine was watching the program on the TV, and he says, I think that was you and LeVar Payne at that time. And he says, I watched the program, and you look like the people that was the guest because you look more white than your true color. Were you been taking a Michael Jackson stuff? I said, no. I said, no. Maybe what you don't understand is there's a big light in the studio.
Yeah.
Maybe you've never been there. But I don't take nothing similar to Michael Jackson, or I don't take, I'm proud to be a black guy. And that's my color. But that is the mentality. This is Ahmed Kasim, your host of Global Village Show. We hope you will join us next time. Until then, God bless everyone, and God bless Canada.